Dream Theater's reunion with drummer Mike Portnoy for their 16th studio album, Dream Theater 2023, was one of the most highly anticipated events in progressive metal history. After Portnoy's departure in 2010, fans had long speculated about whether he would ever return to the band he co-founded. When the reunion was officially announced, expectations skyrocketed, placing immense pressure on the band, especially guitarist and founding member John Petrucci, to deliver an album that lived up to the hype. In a recent interview, Petrucci opened up about the creative and emotional challenges of making this record, acknowledging the weight of fan expectations while also expressing confidence in the final product. His reflections provide a fascinating look into the dynamics of Dream Theater's reunion, the pressures of legacy, and the delicate balance between artistic integrity and audience anticipation. Mike Portnoy's exit from Dream Theater in 2010 was a seismic event in the progressive metal world. As a founding member, primary lyricist, and driving creative force, his departure left a void that many fans believed could never be filled. While Mike Mangini, an incredibly skilled drummer in his own right, stepped in and contributed to 5 studio albums, the question of whether Portnoy would ever return lingered for over a decade. When Portnoy finally rejoined in 2023, the announcement sent shockwaves through the fanbase. Social media erupted with excitement, and discussions about what the reunion album would sound like dominated forums and comment sections. For Petrucci, this enthusiasm was both exhilarating and daunting. "You'd have to be dumb not to be aware of the anticipation," Petrucci admitted. This wasn't just another album. This was a moment that people had been waiting for, some for years, some even since the day Mike left. "We knew we had to deliver something special." The pressure wasn't just external. Internally, the band members, Petrucci, Portnoy, keyboardist Jordan Rudess, bassist John Myung, and vocalist James Labrie, were acutely aware of the significance of this reunion. They had to reconcile their past chemistry with their evolved individual styles, all while navigating the expectations of longtime fans. One of the biggest challenges in recording the new album was finding the right balance between honoring Dream Theater's classic sound and pushing forward creatively. Portnoy's return naturally evoked comparisons to the band's golden era. Albums like Images and Words, 1992, Metropolis PT2, Scenes from a Memory, 1999, and 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence, 2002. However, the band had evolved significantly in his absence, incorporating new influences and refining their technical approach. "We didn't want to just rehash old ideas or pretend the last 13 years didn't happen. Mike had grown as a musician, we had grown as a band, and the music had to reflect that. But at the same time, there was this undeniable energy, this feeling of, okay, we're back together. Let's make something that reminds people why they fell in love with this band in the first place." The recording process was intense. Unlike previous albums where Petrucci and Rudess often led the songwriting, Portnoy's return meant a more collaborative approach. The drummer brought his signature rhythmic complexity and conceptual storytelling back into the fold, which influenced the album's direction. "Mike has this way of pushing everyone," Petrucci said. "He'll throw out an idea, and suddenly you're thinking about a song in a completely different way." It was invigorating, but also demanding. We all had to step up our game. Given the immense hype surrounding the reunion, Petrucci and the band were well aware that not every fan would be satisfied. Some longed for a return to the Scenes from a Memory sound, while others hoped for something entirely new. Striking that balance was a tightrope walk. "You can't please everyone," Petrucci acknowledged. "Some people wanted us to go full-on 90s prog. Others wanted us to keep experimenting. At the end of the day, we had to make the album that felt right to us. If we started second-guessing every decision based on what we thought fans wanted, we'd end up with something that wasn't genuine." Early reactions to the album were overwhelmingly positive, with many praising the seamless reintegration of Portnoy's drumming and the band's renewed chemistry. However, there were also critics who felt the album didn't fully recapture the magic of their earlier work. Art is subjective. Some people are going to love it. Some are going to say it's not their thing, and that's okay. What matters is that we made something we're proud of, and that the energy in the band is stronger than ever. Beyond the music, Portnoy's return also required personal reconciliation. His departure in 2010 was not entirely amicable, and while time had healed many wounds, there were still adjustments to be made in terms of band dynamics. We've all been through a lot over the years. There were conversations that needed to happen, not just about music, but about where we were as people. Mike and I have been friends since we were teenagers, so there was always that foundation. But rebuilding the trust and creative partnership took time. The recording sessions were reportedly both nostalgic and cathartic. Portnoy's return brought back a sense of spontaneity and humor that had been missing during his absence, lightening the mood in the studio. There's a certain energy when the five of us are together, Petrucci said. It's hard to describe, but it's like this unspoken understanding. Even after all these years, it just clicks. With the reunion album now released and a world tour underway, the big question is, what's next for Dream Theater? Petrucci hinted that the band is already thinking about future material, with Portnoy fully back in the fold. This album was just the beginning, he said. Now that we've reconnected, the possibilities are wide open. We're already throwing around ideas for the next one. Fans can likely expect more collaborative writing, live performances that blend old and new material, and perhaps even conceptual projects that harken back to the band's most ambitious works. The making of Dream Theater's reunion album was a high-stakes endeavor, fraught with expectations, creative challenges, and emotional hurdles. Yet, according to Petrucci, the pressure ultimately made the album stronger. Pressure can be a good thing, he reflected. It forces you to dig deeper, to push beyond what's comfortable. And in the end, I think we came out with something that honors our past while still moving forward. For fans, the return of Mike Portnoy marks a new chapter in Dream Theater's storied career, one that bridges the gap between their legendary early years and their modern evolution. And if Petrucci's words are any indication, this reunion is just the start of another groundbreaking era for progressive metal's most enduring band. The pressure was immense. The band was acutely aware of fan expectations and the historic nature of the reunion. Balancing old and new, they aimed to honor their classic sound while evolving creatively. Portnoy's influence, his return reinvigorated the band's chemistry and pushed them musically. Mixed fan reactions, some loved the album, others wanted something different, inevitable given the hype. Rebuilding relationships, personal and creative trust had to be re-established after 13 years apart. Future plans, the band is already looking ahead to new music, with Portnoy fully back in the fold. Dream Theater's reunion album was more than just a comeback. It was a testament to the band's resilience, artistry, and ability to thrive under pressure. And if Petrucci's confidence is any indication, the best may still be yet to come.